Since Halloween is tomorrow, I am very excited to review one of my favorite horror movies of all time. This is something I'm very passionate about, especially since it is by Stanley Kubrick once again. And whoa! Whoa! What's happening right now?
Hello, Mac. Come and play with us.
Come play with us
forever
and
ever and ever.
The Shining is a 1980 horror film directed by Stanley Kubrick, and it is based off of the Stephen King novel of the same name. This movie stars Jack Nicholson, Shelley Duvall, Danny Lloyd, Scatman Carothers, and so many other roles. So this movie is about the Torrance family. They move into this mysterious location known as the Overlook Hotel. As they step foot into this location, the father of the family, played by Jack Nicholson, is someone who is so enthusiastically in love with the place. He believed that the hotel was one of the most beautiful places that he has ever stepped foot in until he realizes that there is just some psychological spirit that is affecting his psyche, and how this Overlook Hotel was once owned by a mysterious and deadly person named Delbert Grady, who once murdered his family. And little does Jack Torrance know that this type of event is starting to repeat as Jack Torrance tries to tear his family apart due to the spirits that are affecting his mind. What else is there for me to say about The Shining? This movie is one of the most puzzling, philosophical, and disturbing films that I have ever seen. This is a film that just had so many things going for it back in 1980, and that is thanks to literally everybody who was involved with this film, in terms of Stanley Kubrick's direction, the cinematography, the performances, especially by Jack Nicholson, and the entire craft for what it is to make viewers puzzle about what the heck was that movie all about from start to finish. This is a movie that reminds us that cinema has several hidden layers for people to discover as they watch film. The first thing to praise from The Shining are the performances. I loved Jack Nicholson, I really loved Shelley Duvall, and I really enjoyed Danny Lloyd, but the best performance in this movie is this dude, Jack Nicholson. Let's face it, people, Jack Nicholson owns this entire movie. This is one of his most iconic performances ever put in cinema, and that is because of the way how Nicholson just knows how to make a villain very charismatic and disturbing all at once. Whenever Jack Nicholson is on screen, he just knows how to scare the audience. He's very unpredictable, he knows how to calculate every move that every other character makes, and he knows how to strike at the right time, which is why Jack Nicholson's performance as Jack Torrance is just one of the most celebrated performances in horror movie history. This really is his movie, and whenever you see Jack Nicholson go, "Here's Johnny," you actually kind of get frightened, and he's just someone that just knows how to project his image, knowing how to scare audiences and even all of the characters, which is why Jack Nicholson is basically the star of The Shining. The Shining also has one of the most beautiful cinematography and artwork that I've ever seen in a horror film. Because despite how scary this movie is, this movie just looks so beautifully and gorgeously framed. Everything from the symmetrical cinematography, the one-point perspective, and all of the visual metaphors that you keep on guessing for yourself about why the color red was overused in this movie, and about why things happen for the way they are. And what I really love is how Stanley Kubrick just frames actors in the middle of a shot to make sure that their point of view or their projection is seen for the entire story. And the way about how each and every scene just correlate and overlap with each other, there are just several scenes in which you do not notice every other thing that just happens whenever characters or actors are walking by, or even just times when they're just in the middle and you see other two things right beside them. And just with those things that are used and managed through the cinematography, you are able to see just the amount of perfection within each and every frame of The Shining. And through the cinematography, art direction, and positioning of actors, that is literally the genius behind Stanley Kubrick. He will show you a shot of the film that you might see, but you also will not understand at the same time. There are certain objects that you can probably see within your first viewing, but you also miss out on things that just disappear out of nowhere within your second or third viewing. And through those visual metaphors and camera tricks enhanced by Stanley Kubrick, that is literally the genius mind of Kubrick himself. He will show you a shot or an image of a film, and you have to think deeply about what is it supposed to mean. What are the layers behind its purpose of the entire story and plot of the film? And you even wonder about if this is a connection to certain characters, or if this will tell some sort of psychological message behind what a person is thinking about, or if it is linked to anything else throughout the entire storyline of the film itself. What makes The Shining a true horror classic are two reasons. The first reason is how this movie has a very classic setting of placing characters in a designated and isolated location where help is far away, and there's a crazy maniac out to get those characters. The second reason about why this film is very scary, in my opinion, is how this movie has a humongous question about the human mind and how scary it is whenever you cannot predict anyone's actions. It even has a comment about the dangers of psychological delusions, imaginations, and the manipulations of the human mind, making people think about what things are real and what is imaginary, or if there are several types of delusions that can basically persuade and twist people's mind, making them believe that is real when it's basically just an influence, a dangerous influence. And that is basically what makes this film so classic in the horror genre, especially through the way of how the entire message is about what is going on in someone's behavior and how come it is so unpredictable whenever they are acting a certain way. And that is basically what makes horror in The Shining. Because of all of those things that I have basically mentioned for The Shining, that is the reason why that movie is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. It's intense, it's got amazing direction, the performances are truly iconic, and that is the reason why I have to give The Shining a 10 out of 10. Before I end this review, I would love to give a shout out to my friend Sly the Movie Guy. Sly really loves this movie. He has told me his passionate love for The Shining because of how amazingly crafted it was by Stanley Kubrick. And before I end this review, not only am I going to give him a shout out, I am going to share with you an awesome clip that he made for me about his love for this film. Take it away, Sly!
What's up, everybody? I'm Sly, the Movie Guy, and yes, The Shining is one of my favorite Stanley Kubrick films because this is a horror film that gives you goosebumps and chills down your spine and just unsettling to watch. Even as an adult, I still get those goosebumps watching this film because we see this family staying at this overlook hotel and the supernatural presence takes over Jack Torrance's character, and Jack Nicholson's performance is absolutely phenomenal here. I mean, he gives one of the best performances in his career. I mean, he just makes the character so scary. This madman that's about to kill his family because of the supernatural presence. I mean, he stalks his wife upstairs saying, "I'm not going to hurt you. I'm just going to bash your brains in." It is so good. That line just gets me every time. And Red Rum, the room scene, is just so good where we see Jack Nicholson's character tearing down the door with an axe. It just, oh man, it's so good when we hear him give that line, "Here's Johnny." Oh, and seeing his wife have that terrifying face as he's tearing down the door, it just works on so many levels. This is one of Stanley Kubrick's best films. This film has so many great moments, and to me, one of the top 10 horror films of all time. I mean, this is one of the greatest horror films. I love this film to death. I recommend you checking this film out if you haven't seen it yet. Like I said, this is one of Stanley Kubrick's best films, in my opinion.
And thanks so much for that comment, Sly. Therefore, I hope every one of y'all have an amazing Halloween, stay safe, and trick or treat as always. Thank you so much, everybody.